Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the X-Bomb to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I am your host. I won't be talking during the mic when it's open. No, my name is actually Mr. Andrew Valentin. Next to me I'll be talking when the mic is officially open. Mr. Tom McKinney. Tom, how you doing today?
Doing really good.
Dude?
Yeah, dude.
By the way, I got to compliment you. You've got an entirely decked out Cleveland look going on right now. For those of you who don't know, Tom is currently sporting the Cleveland Indians logo on his hat, as well as the old-fashioned Cleveland Indians from the 50s. 40s, excuse me there. And he is sporting number 29, I believe it is, which would in fact be...
Is that what it is? I don't remember.
It's 29, yes. And that is Satchel Paige, for those of you who don't. So a little love there for the old-school baseball fans. For those who, I hope there are young baseball fans that know. Great pitcher, by the way. So you should definitely go look up video of him.
My hero.
Absolutely. But we have a great show for you guys today. We've got a lot to talk about in terms of... You stop. You should be happy about today's show. Seriously. Sports. So I hope you guys are really into it. You ready to get into this, Tom?
Yeah, I'm upset the teleprompter's not working.
Is it not? Well, then you better get this one right, because today, ladies and gentlemen, we have to talk about UFC 229. It went down Saturday. Man, oh man, was it beautiful. Tom and myself went to Buffalo Wild Wings, shot out on some wings, drank some beer, and watched an incredible fight from start to finish, even through the preliminary rounds, the prelims, and even with the early prelims.
Wow,
as well.
now you just messed this up.
Yeah.
You've already botched an easy one.
I know. So we're off to a good start there.
Yeah.
But even those fights were very good. But I mean, the main card was exquisite, I will say. Michelle Waterson was able to win her fight against Felice Herrig, who is a local here from Crystal Lake, Illinois. So unfortunately for Felice Herrig, it's unfortunate that she was not able to win, but congratulations to Michelle Waterson. Derek Lewis having an incredible fight against Alexander
Derek Lewis, why you take your pants off? My balls are hot.
An absolutely fantastic interview after the fight. Really fantastic finish, though. Guy came in with a one-punch knockout on Volkov as he was, from my perspective and from many others,
Oh, he was losing that fight.
But
Literally,
he came...
and here's a funny story. You and me, as you have already said, we're at B-Dubs.
Right.
I looked at my phone,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden the crowd goes, ah!
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, what did I miss?
One staggering hit, he put Volkov on his heels, and next thing you know, he comes across with a nice right. Boom, takes Volkov right down to the ground.
And just start beating
him.
wail
on him for the win. And now Derek Lewis will be going against Daniel Cormier. This has been announced.
It has been
for
announced.
The heavyweight title.
Yes, it has been announced, but the man has already said he's not fighting for a title until he gets some more conditioning in.
Yeah, absolutely. The man was absolutely exhausted. But congratulations to you, Derek Lewis. You fought well, you fought hard, and you earned that one. Speaking of getting a chance at a title, Tony Ferguson went and knocked out Anthony Pettis. Well, technically, it was a technical knockout.
Yeah, it was a fluke knockout. Like
Anthony Pettis looked like he had the opportunity to go out there and win the fight.
That fight.
He was certainly seemed like he was
winning that
but
fight.
Tony Ferguson exploded on him, and next thing you know, Anthony Pettis unfortunately broke his hand or his wrist, I believe it was, and from then he was done. So Tony Ferguson, who is now who is now going to be the contender, the next contender in line for the lightweight title. But we'll have to wait and see, because now for the main event, Khabib. What?
You said I get to say this.
You want to say his first name?
Nurmagomedov.
Thank you. And Conor McGregor faced off against each other for the lightweight title. Now, unfortunately, as many of us here were thinking and hoping and wondering,
McGregor was robbed.
Conor McGregor going to win this? Unfortunately, Conor McGregor did not win this fight. He lost it in the fourth round due to submission. He tapped out due to a headlock coming from Khabib.
It was more of a neck wrench. He didn't even get it
it's a headlock, but I mean, he almost was ready to snap his neck.
It's not a headlock, it's a wrench.
Well, I mean, either way, he made the man tap. So, regardless,
oh, they're fighting at 230.
Yes.
No, Derek Lewis, I didn't realize it was UFC 230.
Yeah, they're fighting in the next fight.
Couple weeks.
Yes, they're going for it, so he has to get prepared.
So where are we watching that fight?
We'll discuss that.
Right,
we'll discuss that. You said your piece on the Hawks. I'm going to say mine.
Choose your words wisely.
I will, and I'm going to say what I want to say.
I'll kill you.
Just relax, will you? Look, I'll give credit to the Hawks right now. They've been doing phenomenally on the offensive side of things. Taze, He looks great. He looks phenomenal. 5 goals, 1 assist. Tied the team right now in the lead with 6 points with Patrick Kane, who's got 4 goals to himself, 2 assists. Phenomenal, right? Taze is +4, Kane's +3. Both of them doing phenomenal work as up front on the offense. The defense is, though, what's killing them. Right now, they've allowed 14 goals. They've scored 15, but they've allowed 14.
A lot of goals, though, going on right now. So you can't just say the defense.
But I mean, you've got. I mean, it's not just on the defense, though. I mean, and I understand
Pucks are juiced.
that they're. It's not just the defense, though. That's the concern, obviously,
you can't say that because the Hawks have let up so many goals. Look at what Boston's given up.
But that's also a problem too. When you let that many goals get by.
Look at what happened in the Pittsburgh-Washington game.
Okay, but you have to
7-6 in overtime. The same score as Sunday's game.
Right, but you have to understand that when you let that many goals get by, there may be a problem with your defense. In fact, I would say there's a problem with your defense.
It's a league issue then. It's not the Hawks.
It's not a league issue then.
How is it not?
It's a team issue then.
It's not.
It's a team issue
with the league
then.
because everybody's scoring goals.
But it's a team issue. I'm not singling out I'm singling out the Hawks primarily, and if I were in Boston, I would probably say the same thing. Why are you letting that many goals get by? Same thing.
You're the way opposite than everything that's been going around. Is the Hawks' defense is actually outstanding right now.
I disagree. Well, I think if they're outstanding, then that shouldn't be happening. 14 goals should not be coming in then if they're that good. And plus,
the league is getting
Cam
better.
Ward has issues of his own.
Get out of here.
Cam Ward is not that good of a goalie, and I think they could find something a lot better.
Let's just go to the
out
next
there.
segment if you really want to argue right now.
No, we're gonna talk on this right now because I want to talk about this, and then we can argue about the next one and yell at each other all we want. So
hold on, time out.
Yeah.
You might want to turn these mics down a little bit. It's about to get really loud in here.
Because he's going to...
All right. Listen here about Cam Ward first.
All right. First off, let me keep talking because I'm not finished here. Cam Ward's been letting goals in left and right. He's having his own issues. I get he still shows the ability to be a talented goalkeeper. I'm not taking that away from him. He still has the agility to be able to stop the puck. But you have to even admit, he's letting up at the wrong times. He has let goals through that he should not be letting through. He should be stopping some of these shots. And the defense is not even getting in the face of some of these guys. They're letting clear shots get wide open. Now, the other team's doing it as well, as we saw when we were at Buffalo Wild Wings. We were watching a little bit of that game, and they were giving the Hawks a lot of open looks too.
All that game.
Right, but there were also a lot of open looks coming for Toronto as well. The defense was not getting in their face. They were letting these guys be able to take the shots on Cam Ward, and when you give them that opportunity, they're going to start to score. The more shots you give a guy and the more looks you give and the clearer look you give, the more they're going to have the opportunity to score. I think the Hawks have a great opportunity to still do something, but I don't see it still. I think the defense is going to be their heel. Offensively, yeah, they look great. Defensively, though, I still don't trust them. Cam Ward right now is the biggest question mark as a goaltender. They need to either find somebody else or he needs to start stepping it up. I don't know what needs to happen, but something's got to change in order for them to continue to hold this streak. 2-0-1's great, but if they want to be like 10-0-1 by the time they're through 11 games or whatever, they're going to have to make a lot of changes, I think. Or they're going to have to start working things differently. I don't know, but something's got to give.
First off, with Cam Ward, the league has become so skilled that goaltenders are going to look stupid. Cam Ward stood on his head on Sunday. There were saves there that most goaltenders can't make. There's saves. Hell, look at the saves we saw Hopi save in the finals last year.
But you can't blame that on just the skill players alone and just say
you got to look at who that team was, though, on Sunday. You have John Tavares. You have Austin Matthews. There's so many players on that team.
Right, but as a starting goaltender, you should be able to go up against those guys.
Yes, as a starting goaltender, you should be. But at the same time, they're going to get those shots where it's going to come off the stick differently than you anticipate, and you're not going to get it. And that's where they go, oh, that's an easy save. They're not easy saves. None of those shots are easy saves because the pucks are doing weirder things now with the curves.
But it's still, even regardless of the curvature and all that stuff, he should be able to have the anticipation to be ready for these things. I get he can catch every single time.
Those pucks are starting to come in like, the wiffle balls?
Right.
They're starting to come in like that. They're doing weird things.
But this isn't. But you can't blame this on the NHL.
No,
then
I'm not
for,
blaming it on the NHL. I'm just blaming it on more skilled guys knowing what they can do with the puck.
But then still,
And
as
I'm not even blaming it
experienced
on this-
as Cam Ward is, he should be able to take on those guys.
He should be able to, but at the same time, you go stand there and do that. Like, I don't want to do that. First off, I don't want to take a Zdeno Chara 108-mile-an-hour slap shot or a Shea Weber,
No, trust me, I
108.5.
wouldn't want to be in that same
no
position
way.
either.
Goaltenders are crazy as it is.
Right.
Like, you think I'm crazy? Goaltenders even crazier.
No, trust me, I've met a few of them. I understand
they're not,
how they can
there's
be.
some bolts loose
Right.
up there, but at the same time, you can't go and expect these goaltenders to be able to stop every single shot, and they're gonna let in easy ones. It's just the game.
But they have to go in with the expectation of
They have to go-
try and stop every single shot.
Then that's what
but
their
this
expectation
this
is.
looks like it's not.
That's
like
what
he's
you
not
think it
gonna
looks
work.
like. But being at a game and seeing it on TV is two different things. Because you have to see what he's doing before that shot comes in, and you don't see that all the time on the TV.
Right.
So like that's why I'm saying on Sunday, what he was doing before those shots came in, because I watched him a little bit, because that was the one thing everybody was like, oh, Cam Ward's terrible. That's the thing I saw all over Twitter, I saw all over Facebook, like, and of course I'm the person that likes to piss off other Blackhawks fans and Notre Dame fans. It's just fun.
Let's just be honest. You like to make everybody mad.
Yeah, I like to go get off your high horses. Cam Ward will be fine. It's been 3 games.
I mean, look, and
calm
I don't
down.
blame you for having.
But at
Trust
the
me, I
same-
wish I had I wish I had your positivity on that.
But here's my whole thing: is you watched him. Here comes the shot, and there was at one point he let in 1 goal, and everybody was like, "That's when Twitter and people were like tweeting me and shit like this." Like some of my friends are like, "Oh, what is he doing here? What happened with this one?" And it's the one where he tried to slide over and couldn't get over fast enough.
Right.
Those are the ones that people are like, "Oh, he's letting in soft goals like this." Those aren't soft goals. Those are hard goals to stop because you're going from one side down and you got to sort of come back up and slide over. That's not easy to do, to push off when you can't get a grip with your skate.
Right, but wouldn't you think for the
Yes,
ability
for your
that he
veteran-
has as somebody who should be able to say, okay,
But
you have to be able to
here's the
follow
other
that
thing.
puck, and I understand that's not always an easy thing, especially from the goaltender's spot. That can sometimes be very hard. You can lose it a lot of times.
Especially
But
those scrambles.
with his
in the-
ability, he should be able to find
should.
it and stop it,
He
and
should.
that's my thing.
He should, but so should Luongo, so should King Henrik, so
Exactly.
should Jonathan Quick.
Every one of those
These
guys should be able
goaltenders
to
be
do it.
throwing shutouts every night,
Right.
but they're not, because it's the NHL, and the NHL is the way it is. And these players like Austin Matthews, you got Rasmus Dahlin, these guys are starting to get way too skilled with these sticks. It's showtime.
Right, but then with them being more skilled, then these guys have to up their ante as goaltenders.
But
as
they're
well.
getting skilled each game, and there's nothing you can do about it.
But then there is something they can do about it. They have to prepare for it.
They have to
better.
prepare, but there's only so much preparing you could do.
No, you can always prepare more. There's only
So much. He'll be fine. He'll start when
You have
Thursday.
to just-
He's
you
gonna
have to
start
get
Thursday.
more prepared
And on
for-
top of that, here's the other thing. Cam Ward played Thursday night last week against Ottawa, overtime game. He played Saturday night against St. Louis, overtime game. He played Sunday, overtime. That's 3 overtimes. That's 3 games in 4 nights.
Right.
Or
But I don't count. But
5, yeah,
yes.
4 nights. So that's too much. Anton Forsberg should have started either the St. Louis game or the Sunday's game against Toronto.
So you're saying that he played too much? Is that
I
what
think
you're-
he played too much to start the season off but at the same time, Anton Forsberg went down with an injury in practice.
Right.
But he was still dressed on that bench on Sunday.
years.
They're
He hasn't
not
been
going
a
to
decent
be.
player for a long time.
Get out of here with your decent player. First off, you're wrong, and you're always going to be wrong in this sense.
All right, tell me why I'm wrong then.
Because they're not going to be what they used to be. That's what people always want them to be.
Exactly, they're not what they used to be at all.
That's the whole thing. Is you keep making it seem like that's what they need to be. They need to be their old ways. They're never going to be their old ways. They're now starting to turn into that Brian Urlacher role, where Brian Urlacher was never going to be what he was in that Super Bowl.
Right.
So now they're becoming the coaches, and Keith is still going to be that leader of that defense.
And that's fine,
they're
but
doing
then he
that.
shouldn't
They
be
have.
on this.
He
but then-
should be on the number 1 line.
No, he shouldn't.
Dude, him and Yokoharu are really dominant right now. And again, you can't.
I don't
judge,
mind Yokoharu being
You
there,
can't
but
judge what you have seen on TV until you see them in person, because you can see more in person than you can in TV. So with people judging what they see on TV and not in person is what baffles me the most. Unless you have seen them or are going to see them in person, and really it's after you see them, then you can officially judge them, and I will respect your opinion, because TV you only see so much.
right. But this is a guy that used to be all about physicality, getting the steals, intercepting passes.
He doesn't need that
do
anymore.
almost any of that
This
stuff
Hawks team's
anymore.
never been about physicality. This Hawk team,
And that's been a frustrating point because
no, it
this
hasn't.
Yes, it
The
has.
team has never needed to
It
be
has.
physicality. No, the
It
team
has been
is.
frustrating because
You want to know what's really frustrating right now?
What's
it's
that?
nothing else. No, the defense, the goaltending, the offense, the scoring, the hitting. None of that's frustrating. You want to know what's really frustrating? And then we can end it right here because I'm done talking about this right now.
What's that?
Is the freaking power plays.
Yes.
They need
okay.
to start freaking scoring on those. The penalty kills are going to come eventually. It's early in the season. It'll come. They usually are pretty good. They'll get that
I hope
locked down.
so.
They'll get that locked down. They're working on where they want the few pieces, like who do they want here, who do they want there. It's early in the season. You don't get a lot of penalties in preseason and stuff like that.
Right.
So this is where you're going to start seeing it. The big issue is that power play. They had a 4-minute double minor on Sunday after a high stick that drew blood, and they didn't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
They had maybe a shot on goal. They need to stop passing the puck. It's the one issue that we've all had, everybody's had. Once they stop passing the puck around so much and just put it on net, you're playing 5-on-4.
Right.
If you start putting that puck on net more, and I understand getting it in the zone is difficult and keeping it in the zone is always difficult.
Right.
It always is. The ice is more open, so you make a pass and the guy moves an inch. It bounces off and it goes away. And
Right.
the other
Everything
team gets
goes
it.
the wrong way. All right. Well, we're gonna get into this final topic, and then
Do we have to? Like, I don't want to argue anymore with
Well,
you.
we've got to get into this because I mean.
All right, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna let you say your piece,
All right.
and then I'll come back in and you can say I'll say my piece. Go ahead.
So the next thing we're going to talk about for hockey is, if you guys don't know, Capitals winger Tom Wilson, during a game against St. Louis,
Preseason
by
game.
the way. Thank you, preseason game, made a pretty nasty hit against one of their players coming across the ice, from what appears to be that he checked him right in the head, and recently was suspended for 20 games. Now, there's been an outcry.
And fined for $1.2 million.
Yes, and he was also fined as well. Now, there has been a lot of backlash going back and forth in terms of he shouldn't have been suspended or he should have been suspended longer. Which side do you sit on and stuff? I'm on the side of that. I thought he should have been suspended longer. Now, I'm looking at 30, maybe even 40 games because from where I sat, from watching that clip, from everything I was able to see, the close-up and everything shows that he put his shoulder into this player's head. He put the player on the ground. It was a nasty, deliberative hit that Tom Wilson has done multiple times before. And while I understand that the other suspensions are there, I don't think that this is a concern in terms of trying to have the other suspensions be impacted by this. Certainly they hold him accountable for those other incidences, but this was such a big, nasty, deliberative hit towards another player's head where your mind sits at, where your brain is, that you had to hit him with some sort of suspension. And I think it should have been longer. Because, I mean, look, and Tom Wilson's a great player. Tom Wilson's a great player with a lot of respect and a lot of love to give, but for this hit, I can't condone it. I'm with the NHL because this is something where the NHL, it may not happen, but they may go into their little corner and say, we may have to change something. And as much as I'd hate to see that happen, because the NHL, in terms of checking everybody and being able to hit other players, it has to exist for the game to be able to continue. But something's got to give at this point. It's a nasty hit. He should have been suspended. He's lucky he didn't get it longer. So that's where I stand on this.
You done?
Yeah.
You done now? Okay. Now you can keep quiet and let me talk because you're wrong. He should have been suspended. I'm fine with the suspension, not 20 games. It should have been maybe 5 to 10. For the reason of you have to look at the same side as the player came in with his head down, skated from the boards to the middle of the ice, something you are taught to do, not to do in Pee-wees. You are told not to skate to the middle of the ice, especially in the offensive zone when you're going to shoot the puck with your head down. You don't shoot the puck with your head down. You keep it up. Tom Wilson came in low like he always does to make a big hit, which he does, and this guy still had his head down, which is Tom Wilson comes in. He already knows what he's doing. He's not going to stop. He can't. He's not going to be able to let up either when he looks up and sees his head down. He's skating. He doesn't expect that guy's head to be down. And when he saw it still down, he came up and he clocked him in the shoulder. The follow-through might have caught him in the head. He hit him in the shoulder. If you go look at that,
him in the head.
If you go look at that video again,
he hit him in the head.
If you look at that video and you actually break it down, he hits him in the shoulder. And then it goes to the head. I have watched that video a million times. I have broken it down. I have changed so many people's views on this because of the fact
him in the head.
You and me are going to sit down one day and we're going to sit this. Now let me finish talking. This is where the big issue is. You could have suspended him longer. You could have suspended him the whole playoffs last year because of a few hits that he had last year. But you decided not to. You suspended him maybe a game or two. If this is the makeup for the playoffs, then the NHL is in the wrong here, and needed to reduce this suspension. That's where this big issue is, and that's where the big argument is. Is this a makeup for the missed calls in the playoffs? Now there was one hit in the playoffs. I can't remember exactly when it was and who he hit, but I did not agree with that hit. I thought that was a pretty dirty hit. He definitely clocked him in the head. I thought he deserved more than the game or two he got. I'm totally against the head contact. This one was not a head contact. But whatever, you're blind, but okay.
Okay, you can't say that I'm blind, but yeah.
I could say you're blind. It's my opinion. Clearly, you're blind when
I guess. All right, but continue.
But if this is the case, and it ever does come out, which it won't. Obviously, who's worse? For them to not suspend him the way they should have in the playoffs, and who knows? The Cats might have not won the Stanley Cup. It would have gone to someone else. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Whatever. But for them to now suspend him hard like this is, in my opinion, bullshit. Like, you can't suspend someone this and not have everybody question, is this to make up for all the ones you missed in the playoffs?
Right.
Because there's a great line. For a 2-game suspension in the playoffs is a 4-game suspension in the regular season. Mm-hmm. This is too much, especially right now. It should have been at least 10 games. I would have been fine with 10 games. If it was 10 games, this would not be a problem. Like, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah, because 10 games is nothing.
10 games is still something.
It's nothing, really.
It's still something, though.
In comparative to the rest of the season, it's really nothing.
It's still...
He misses 10 games of the regular season at the start of it. At that, too. It's 10, nothing, really.
It's still 10 games, though. It's still a substantial amount of time that you're missing, that you're not with your team, not with your brothers, that's not with your coach, and not playing, not practicing. And then all of a sudden, after those 10 games, you got to be put back in and working with these guys. He's only practicing. He has not played a game since that suspension. That's why the NHL has always had a problem, because they don't know how to choose when their suspensions need to be. Like, they'll suspend someone. Rafi Torres is the perfect one. He was suspended 41 games. That got reduced to 25, which was BS, because that was the Hossa hit. And that was a dirty play.
But that's one of my questions, too, because I've asked you this before. And I've put this to you before. Because if this
excluding the Rafi Torres, I know where this questions go. Yeah. Excluding the Rafi Torres, because we both agree that hit deserved way too much. And if this
was a Blackhawks player that got hit like that, you would be outraged. No. Yes, you would, Tom.
No, I would not.
Yes, you would not. You wouldn't be outraged, because you're lying to me.
I would be outraged at first, but if I saw the video,
Blues fans were outraged by this hit. You would be outraged if it was like Taze that took this hit, or Kane that took this hit.
No, because Kane has been hit before, and he broke his clavicle.
Right.
And I was outraged at first, but then I saw how the hit went, and I was like, it's a clean hit.
But you were still outraged by it.
I was outraged at first.
And this would happen again.
That's what I'm saying. I would be outraged at first until I saw the video and sat down and broke it down like I did with this one.
But he still got him in the head. Even if you say he hit him in the shoulder first,
but there's a follow-through rule in the NHL.
The
there's a follow-through rule in the NHL. If you make contact with the shoulder first and then it happens to go to the head, there's no penalty, no nothing. And that's where this happened.
See, I can't do that then. Any contact that comes in with the head like that on that big of a blow shouldn't be happening. And then I wouldn't put that on the Blues player. I'd still put that on Tom Wilson.
But you can't.
Why are you coming in like that?
But this is the whole. It's just
you're coming in to blow that guy up.
Like the NFL and the NCAA for football a couple years ago had this stupid rule where defensive players couldn't tackle anybody with their head down.
Right.
So running backs and stuff would continuously have their head down, and they would get hit, and then they would have concussions. This is where you got to start penalizing the other player at the same time, and then these hits don't happen.
Right.
Because then they realize, oh, I can't skate this way. I can't have my head down all the time like this. Then these hits don't happen. You see it. The NFL doesn't have those big hits like that.
Not anymore.
Every once in a while you see it.
Right.
But you don't see it anymore. That's where I'm coming at. You need to punish the other guy at the same time. You started the embellishment penalty. You need to start this one where if you go on your head down.
All right, well, let me ask you this then, because I don't want to keep yelling at each other. Yeah, I know. But I want to ask you really quickly before we go to commercial, do you think that this is a hit that maybe we see change something within the NHL? Obviously it'll be difficult because we know the NHL doesn't change a lot, but which is stupid.
Well, actually they are changing something. They're changing the size of the goalie pads. They're going bigger.
Oh, well, okay, that's good. But do you think that this could bring a significant change in terms of how we aim at players, how we
go the way that they should, like I just explained? And in this case, the only thing the NFL's done right, and the NCAA in that sense, is penalize the other player that's being hit for doing something stupid like that.
So in that way, you're saying, like, if in the NFL, if you got a player that lowers his helmet and another guy that goes in and hits him in the helmet, it's targeting for the defender, but then lowering the helmet for the offensive guy.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, well.
Like, you don't lie. That would make sense. Because
would make sense.
Again, you can't go from the boards
and
skate to the middle of the ice with your head down.
Right.
That is a suicide move.
Right. But it's just one of those things that, again, for me, from the way I see the video, it looks like straight on.
Can we agree?
It looks like he hit him in the head.
No more than 15? Like, would you be fine with 15 games? Because I'll go that high. I would go that high.
I will go as low as 15. I will go as low as 15. I would like to see more from my perspective, from the way the hit looks from my perspective. But I will look.
We won't argue as much.
Yeah, I know. But we will. But I will say the lowest I would say is 15.
Okay.
But you know what? He has to serve the suspension. He's been hit with the fine.
He's already through 3 games.
Right.
2 games.
He's through. Well, okay. So through 2 games. So. He'll be back soon. Seems like Washington's
too much
continuing
layover to start the season. And what is with the early games yesterday? Get out of here.
We're done. We're done. All right. Well, we got to go to commercial break. Tom's gonna cool off. I'm gonna cool off a little bit, and who knows? Maybe one of us will be dead. We'll see. Okay, sure. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, hope you guys enjoy these commercials. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the MLB playoff race, as well as a little bit on the awards. And we're going to get into some college football as well. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.